Hello, everybody. This is Carol Maletta. Welcome to the Parenting 411 podcast, where we share information parents need from sources they can trust. Welcome to a special episode of the Parenting 411 podcast. Today, we're diving into a crucial conversation about an essential life skill, swimming. It's a skill that not only provides joy and health benefits, but it's also vital for safety. Yet, access to swimming lessons and water safety knowledge has historically been limited for Black and Brown communities, which has had serious consequences. Joining us today are two incredible advocates who are changing this narrative. Anthony Patterson Sr. and Chelsea Randolph. Anthony, as president of the Nile Swim Club of Yeadon, has launched impactful initiatives like No Child Will Drown in Our Town, offering free swimming lessons to both children and adults. The Nile Swim Club of Yeadon holds a profound place in history, being recognized as the oldest Black-owned private swim club in the United States, a trailblazer in providing a safe and inclusive space for swimming and water safety education. Chelsea Randolph is the founder of Randolph Swim Academy and a seasoned swimming instructor, and she brings her deep passion for teaching and a commitment to water safety education, particularly within the African American community. Together, they're going to share their experiences, the challenges they've overcome, and how they are making swimming accessible and safe for every child and adult in their communities. So get ready to be inspired, informed, and empowered with knowledge that can save lives. So let's dive in. Welcome, Anthony Patterson Sr. and Chelsea Randolph.
Hello. How are you?
So we will start off with you, Anthony. Share a little bit of the history of the Nile Swim Club of Yeadon, and very importantly, let's talk about why it was established.
Okay, yes. So back in about 1957 or so, three of our founders attempted to join the Yeadon Swim Club in Yeadon, Pennsylvania, Delaware County, and they were denied admittance. As a matter of fact, one of the founders states that when they forgot to write some additional information on their application, they went back upstairs to the Borough Hall of Yeadon and asked the gentleman could he have his application back, and he discovered that his application was in the trash can. So that is what pretty much launched the Nile Swim Club. So those few members, instead of going back and fighting and protesting and forcing that swim club to admit them into their pool, they came back to our community and said, you know what, let's build our own pool. And they broke ground soon after that, in 1958, I believe it was, and the Nile Swim Club was opened in 1959.
You know, I want to just take a moment for people to really let that sink in. This is 1958,
yes.
And three people get turned down from the pool,
yes.
And they literally leap to the conclusion that they can build their own pool.
Yes. And remind you that this is in Yeadon, Delaware County. These are African-American professionals moving into suburban Yeadon, right outside of Philadelphia. It's a suburb outside of Philadelphia. Established folks, predominantly African-American. On one side is African-American, the other side is predominantly white. But these are professional African-Americans with job, educators, police officers, the like. And they basically told them that they could not join their pool.
Yeah. And it's like, they were educators and professional, right, but that's still a profound sacrifice, right, to get a bunch of people to buy into this idea, correct, of getting property, right, getting this pool built. So I just,
yes,
we'll
buying these 4.5 acres of land. As a matter of fact, as you know, one of your sorors, Sister Denise Stewart, her father is one of the founders.
Right, right.
As they came to the university, yes.
It just gives me chills. And I read the book, and we'll talk a little bit more about the book that shares the history of the Nile Swim Club, but also the history of access, right, and to swimming and just in general gives you a sense of the political climate and how racism was practiced, back then, and it just makes it all the more phenomenal that this group of founders really did this. So, talk about the impact that the formation of the club had on your community and then on your life personally.
Oh, absolutely. It was huge. Like I said, when they denied access and they came back to the community, reached out to all the families in our community. They asked them for $250 each, which is about $3,000 in today's money. And these folks put it together and raised the money to start this pool. Growing up in Yeadon, the youngest of 19 children, I pretty much lived at that pool every day. Now, I don't know if it's unfortunately or fortunately, my family could not afford a membership because there were so many of us. Mm-hmm. So basically what I was allowed to do, I would go there each day and they would ask, they would have young kids would go to the gate and the manager would say, hey, you guys come into the pool, pick up some trash, clean up around the pool, clean the tiles. You can come swimming for the day and get a hamburger and some French fries and something to drink for the day. And that's pretty much how I spent my young years, pretty much every summer at the Nile Swim Club. My brother's lifeguard, he started this pretty much the same way.
Mm-hmm. And what were you saying, Chelsea?
I was saying that's a great deal.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. So
Uh-huh. And so, we get a sense then about what inspired you, Anthony, what continues to fuel you in this mission to make sure that young Black children know how to swim, to make sure that the Nile Swim Club survives. Chelsea, I'd like to say, as someone who's been teaching swimming since 2009, what inspired you to get started? And what have you found to be the most rewarding part of your work?
So when I first got started, I really started teaching swim lessons. I was 16 and I worked at Columbia College. It's a college out here in Columbia. And they kind of just like threw me into teaching swim lessons. So it was kind of like a shocker, but like luckily I kind of just knew naturally like what to do. So that kind of sparked the passion of wanting to teach swim lessons. And then as I got older, like in high school or in college, of course, lifeguarding job. So that came with also teaching lessons. And then as I've gotten older, it's just been like, I noticed like in our community, like either people don't know how to swim or they either like say, I know how to survive. And that's AKA, I don't know how to swim for real. So
that is very true. Very true.
Kind of pushed me to really like, I this is something that I can really help with my community in, like, because I love swimming. I've always been in the pool. I've been on the swim team. I've been a lifeguard since I could get certified, which was like 15. So it's just always been in my blood. So that's the passion and the reward really for me is seeing like people like come to me and they start with like no knowledge.
Yep.
And then by the end of the summer, they are really like swimming. They face their fears. So, helping people face their fears and just teaching them how to swim is just all in all, like all of that entails just rewarding it. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. And, really hearing you, Anthony, talk about growing up with it in the community and being able to go in there and swim, it all of a sudden made me start thinking back about the pool in our neighborhood. And our pool, the one that was right around the corner from me, was a pool that I think only went up to 4 feet, started off, 2 feet or something like that. And it wasn't a huge pool, but it was really very much a social gathering spot like that. You needed to know how to handle yourself somewhat, but it was really just, we did a lot of playing in that pool. And what it also reminded me of from the book about the Nile Swim Club that was really talking about swim policies around swimming and where Black people or anybody else other than white people could swim. it really reminded me of those pools that they said that they started in those. They started those in urban neighborhoods very early on. I can't remember whether it was the 40s or something. It was because it was a way to have people make sure that poor whites as well as blacks and others were bathing.
Yes, bathhouses.
Right. And
Yeah.
so anyway, I mean, I think that's something that they just continued and started putting these pools in the neighborhoods. Like I said, they weren't lap pools, but it was very recreational. So I really appreciated that. Now that was just right in my neighborhood, but there was another pool where I actually did learn how to swim as a child. That really was, Olympic regulation size pool. And I really learned how to swim there. So I really worked on my craft over there, but then around the corner, I swam in the neighborhood pool. And so it makes me think about how, and I think I talked about this a little bit with Chelsea, I'm not sure about with you, Anthony, but that almost like riding a bike, swimming is one of those skills as a child that really connects you socially with people. Like if you don't, if you didn't know how to ride a bike, then you might get left behind when, all the other kids hop on their bike and ride somewhere. And I feel like swimming is sort of like that as well, although it has really dangerous consequences if you find yourself in a situation where everybody knows how to swim and you don't.
As a matter of fact, a couple of incidents last year at the Nile where like 5 or 6 kids come into the pool, they're all hanging out, having fun. And next thing you know, the ones that they all think they know how to swim, and they all jumping into 11 feet because the Nile Swim Club goes 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 11. These kids are jumping off the diving board, jumping 11 feet, and all these kids want to kind of follow their friends. Right. And 1 or 2 of them basically did not know how to swim. And our lifeguards literally had to grab them out the water and say, give them a swim test and say, hey, you guys need to go to 3 feet of water and come get our free swimming lessons. I mean, it's all, folks following their friends and they're jumping in, all having fun. And next they quickly realize, wait a minute, I can't touch the bottom of the ground here. And they're in a lot of trouble. And I'm sure, as you know, that, 69% of our young African-American children have little to no swimming capability. And, and their parents have little to no swimming capability. And it's mostly as far as access. But the other challenge is a lot of our African-American women, as I see it at the Nile Swim all the time, refuse to get their hair wet. So they're sitting by the pool, splashing with their little feet in the water, looking, cute as and don't know how to swim. They're like, I don't want to get my hair wet, which then leads to their children not learning how to swim. And I talked to so many parents, like, listen, I know you want to keep your hair, I said, but listen, your hair can get wet. You'll be okay.
Exactly.
Over in 2024, there are so many different types of caps now.
Right.
That we have technology.
Right. They don't want to put that cap on because they don't think they'll look cute in the cap. I don't know, but I'm telling you, you can come to Nile anytime you want. And I'm telling you, there's got to be 10 or 15 women just kind of standing around and got their little outfit and their throws on. And, and I'm like, you know how to swim? Well, we have free swimming lessons every Saturday morning for you. Come learn how to swim. Because you'll go out to the beach one day, then you shoot that water, and next thing you know, you're gonna, you're gonna be in trouble.
It's important. And to all of my sisters out there, if any of this sounds like you, just plan it. Let Saturday be wash day. So go get your swimming lessons.
There you go.
Mess up, get your hair wet and all of that. Then promptly go home and do your hair. Wash your hair.
And if you want it fashionable, they do have it's this company called You Go Natural. It's a Black-owned company. They have swim turbans and it really works out for all.
Please send me that information. I would love to have it on our website.
Gotcha.
And I will share it with our membership and tell them, listen, ladies, and then get your kids in this water as well.
Yes, because it definitely rubs off on your kids. They follow your example. So let's talk about then the No Child Will Drown in Our Town initiative and how it works and the impact it's had so far in the community. We'll be right back after this. If you're looking to reach a massive audience of parents and caregivers, then look no further than Pro Picks by the Parenting 411, the ultimate marketing program designed to skyrocket your brand to new heights. With Pro Picks, we've created 3 incredible packages to suit your marketing needs and budget. So let's take a look. First up is our social starter package. You'll receive a stunning graphic promo piece, plus we'll also feature your brand on the Parenting 411 Instagram page. It's the perfect way to make a memorable first impression and get parents buzzing about your business. Now, if you're ready to level up, our Parenting Pro package is where it's at. You'll enjoy all the benefits of the social starter package, plus more awesome benefits, including exposure on the Parenting 411 podcast, which reaches parents in more than 22 countries each week. But wait, there's more. For those seeking the pinnacle of marketing power, our Elite Exposure package is the way to go. You'll get even more exposure across our platform, including thousands of followers and connections on LinkedIn. Get ready to dominate the airwaves and establish yourself as the go-to resource for families everywhere. Take advantage of Pro Picks by the Parenting 411 today and unlock unparalleled marketing opportunities for your business. But I should tell you that prices are set to increase on November 1st, so act now. Pro Picks by the Parenting 411 is your passport to the hearts and minds of parents. Visit ProPicksbyP411.com. Join us today and watch the magic happen. And we're back with the Parenting 411.
Thank you so much. Yes. So basically, when I joined the Nile board about, I guess it's 7 years now, and I just started getting involved in swimming. I said I grew up at the Nile. Of course, as you know, went off to college, the whole thing. You kind of leave the community, go move out to Delaware, the suburb, and then you come back and you see that the Nile Swim Club that I love so dearly was in, financial trouble. And they said, Anthony, anything you can do to help us out to get it turned around? So I jumped right in, and I just saw a need not only to restoring the Nile Swim Club, but then when I started talking to folks and other board members, when they're telling me these statistics of 69%, because everyone in Yeadon, for the most part, that grew up at the Nile, we all know how to swim. Mm-hmm. Even though I got the Cheney, I'm swimming and diving up there at the pool we had before it closed. And I'm saying, folks on the silence, none of these folks know how to swim up at Cheney. I'm like, you guys didn't know. And the problem once again, is access. Yeah. So basically, when I got to the pool, when I was hearing these numbers, the first thing I went to my board and said, listen, we have to work on these numbers. When I heard I said 70%. So you're telling me if 10 kids jump in this water right now, you're telling me 3 of them might survive and the other 7 would possibly die. And I said, that is just insane to me. So I said, listen, we have to put together this program. We have to raise this money, come up with this program. So one of my board members, Lisa Ivory, said, no child will drown in our town. And then we started fundraising behind it. And I just said, listen, every day, pretty much all summer long, if we can do it, from 9 to 12 before we open, I want to teach these kids how to swim. And on the weekends, we will teach their parents how to swim. And since we started it, we've probably taught, several thousand kids how to swim. Wonderful. We do this 10-day intense program, 10-day swim clinic, where basically there's kids that are really scared to get in the water. One parent told me that their child who took showers at home didn't like the water splash on their face in the shower.
I hear that so much.
Yes.
So
I've never heard this before.
Yeah.
You're going to be scared to get in 3 feet of water, and before you know it, they're at the end of 10 days, they're now jumping off of a diving board in 11 feet of water and swimming to safety. I mean, it's just an amazing thing to see. I mean, it's amazing. And I have so many parents who said, I paid all this money to send them to the YMCA. I paid money to send them here. Again, I'm not questioning other swimming techniques or swimming methodologies.
Right.
But it appears that my lifeguards and our children tend to learn how to swim in 10 days, where I've had parents tell me I've had them at the YMCA all winter long in this pool with the private lessons, and this kid still can't swim. And they come to our
Really?
program, and in 10 days, they're jumping in 11 feet of water.
Wow.
Yeah,
So just
I, I
something
used
to, go
I
ahead.
used I used to work at the YMCA,
Uh-huh.
and just as a director, like I was the director of aquatics, and you're right, like the swim lessons that they have, they aren't really, I would say, effective.
Right.
You know, and I'm a type of instructor where I'm teaching you how to swim.
Right.
Like,
Right. Right. I don't
you
know
know,
what they were teaching those kids, but I'm telling you, I
That's
have
interesting. It
dozens.
maybe it's the fact that maybe the classes were large or something. I mean,
No, no.
but this is really, I think, absolutely. It sounds like we've got parents who aren't making it a priority, or they're going to programs that aren't adequate. But also, I feel like you can't be one and done with swimming as well. Like you could learn
Absolutely.
it, but you've got to
Oh,
practice it. Like I'm not seeing, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but like, in our neighborhood, we went to camp. We went to day camp. Now, not all of us
right.
went to overnight camp. I did,
Right.
sleepaway camp for a few weeks or whatever. And swimming was definitely a big part of that. And,
Right.
honestly, we were usually, my friend and I were usually one of the few Black people there, with
Right.
people of color, period. But swimming was that was a way of life. I mean, and everybody knew how to swim. But I'm also just not seeing as many people. I mean, I sent my kids to camp, but I don't see as much of that kind of outdoor activity. A lot of
Right.
parents sending their children to those camps,
Right.
and in our community,
Right.
in the Black community, I
I
see it.
sent my son to Camp Taqua in Maryland, and there was a
Okay.
lake down there and all that stuff. And I made sure I said, look, they got them out there on them paddle boats and
Mm-hmm.
canoes and all this stuff. And I was like, they got the life jackets on them, of course. I said, but son, you're still going to know how to swim. And I taught my son at a very early age
Yes.
how to learn how to swim because I felt it was very important. Because like you said, you go to those camps and, and the white children who have their private pools and their private country clubs and their pools, and all these kids know how to swim and all that. And our children are the minority and we're scared of the water. And we really have to change that dynamic. I think it's very, very important. Then they go to the beach and they're, it's
Yeah. It can really be dangerous to not know
absolutely,
how, and
absolutely.
to definitely, once you get lessons, to
Right.
practice it. I mean,
Absolutely.
you
Oh yeah,
definitely have to keep at it.
oh yeah. Our kids, they come to the
tell
pool all summer.
What
I
did you
was,
say?
I was I was just saying, I always tell my clients, swimming is all about muscle memory.
Yes.
Right,
The more you practice, the more your body is just naturally going to be.
right,
Because sometimes I find myself when I'm teaching, like certain skills, I'm always trying to find the right way to explain it
Yes.
to the student, because for me it's just second nature, you know.
Right.
So I always tell my clients it's muscle memory. So even though you're coming to me, 2 times a week, 3 times a week, you also got to practice on your own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yes. So it sounds like, I mean, I was kind of curious coming into my conversation with you all. I was curious about how much progress we have made in terms of helping our children have access to swim instruction and aquatic activities. And it sounds like a couple of things. We haven't made that much progress in some neighborhoods, but then also where it is available, some families just aren't making it a priority. Like it's not a big deal. I mean, they'll be okay when we go to the beach. They just don't have to go out far. They can just wade in the water, or just like you said, sit on the side of the pool, dangle your feet in.
Right.
No big deal. So, is that what we're thinking? That it is
Typically,
more accessible, but not a priority.
yeah, they typically wait, and which is very sad in our community, until something happens. Like I just got a call from the mayor of Chester, asking us to perhaps work with them in their programs because, again, a little girl in Chester, I think, was out in the creek or somewhere and drowned. Very sad. But now, so now they're saying, listen, we need to put some programs in place to teach our children here in our community how to swim. A lot of times it's sad. It's reactionary almost. And like as much, I'm born and bred Philadelphian. You go to the pools in the Philadelphia rec centers that are all open right now.
Yeah.
I pretty much call them giant daycares. They're just there to make sure no one drowns and no one gets in a fight. They're just there, they got a cop there and some lifeguards there, just making sure no one gets hurt, no one's fighting, and no one's out. But they're all just jumping around, splashing in the water. There's no programs. There's just, just a pool with kids in it for the day. Parents drop them off, go to work, come back and pick them up after work. And I explained to several people in the city of Philadelphia and to Chester, in order for us to address this issue and address the issue in our community, is you must put together programs at these things. You got to give these kids other stuff to do. You can't just tell them, come to the pool and splash around all day, and you're not teaching them how to swim. It's just, and I said, we really, really need to do something about this.
Mm-hmm.
We really do. It's, like I said, city of Philadelphia, Chester, all of them are the same, pretty much, that I've seen.
Right.
In our community. And I could be wrong, but, when I go to those pools, I go around and I look, and I check, and like I said, when mayors are calling me saying, hey, I can clearly see what's happening in these pools in our communities. Mm-hmm. And it has to be addressed. We have to teach these children how to swim.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. And so, Chelsea, that brings me to a question that some parents may be uncertain about, and that is the age where children should begin taking swimming lessons, and why you say that.
I mean, so there's a lot of new, like, there's survival swimming nowadays, and then there's like traditional swim lessons.
What's survival swimming? What do you mean by that?
Survival swimming is usually geared towards like infants from like 6 months up. So usually sometimes it's like 4 years old, 5 years old. And they're teaching really infants and kids how to survive in the water by rolling on their backs, like getting breath, and like they're
baby.
Yeah. I don't want to down, like Anthony said, I don't want to down anybody's like teaching skills or whatever. I'm not a fan of those classes, only because when that child gets to traditional swim lessons, we have to break the habit of them going all the way on their back to get breath, because that's not really how you swim. You know what I'm saying? So now they're
right.
They've learned the survival mode to roll over, but in reality, we don't really do that. So I would say for traditional swim lessons, and I'm noticing that ever since the pandemic babies, they're a little different. They're a little like they're a little antisocial. So 3.5, 4 is really, like, I would say a good age to start. But honestly, like, you can, and as an infant, when they're babies, you can get in the water with your baby and have them, tell them, like, I think sometimes parents feel like they need to get their children some lessons as fast as possible, but when in reality, we want to focus on comfortability for swim lessons.
Right. That's what our parents, with our water babies class, the parents get in the pool with them. They basically, the first thing they teach them is they dunk them under the water. They kind of hold them up and do like this, and then, okay, you ready? Go under. So they learn to hold their breath, and you bring them back up. And then, a couple of babies are yelling and screaming, other babies are having fun. But you get comfortable with the water, going underneath, holding their breath, and then coming back up.
That's what I did with my babies, my big boys. I did that as well. So, but I hadn't, but it doesn't sound like it was quite the thing you were talking about with survival swimming.
Yeah, survival.
Because my children were that young. My children were that young, like, I don't know, 8 months to a year or something. Yeah, that's
AJ was probably 2 or 3.
Wow. I want to say, like, traditional swim lessons, usually the age is 3 years old for traditional swim lessons. So like even group lessons. But like I said, I guess to answer your question, to start traditional swim lessons, 3 years old and up. But of course, like, you can take a water, mommy and me or daddy and me class. And again, really focusing on comfortability in the water before talking about into swim lessons, because that's the biggest thing that I've learned teaching swim lessons is usually kids are just like, they're not comfortable in the water.
Right.
For whatever reason, we have to figure it out. But once they get comfortable in the water, they're willing to try, you know, exercises and different things that you want them to do. So that's what I found teaching.
Yeah. So for parents that are looking for a program, what kind of certification should they expect a swim instructor to have? And what difference does it make to the quality of their instruction?
Okay. Well,
Chelsea?
Foremost.
Okay, Chelsea, go ahead.
So really, for me personally, I would like my swim instructor to at least be, you know, lifeguard certified. So that way they can, you know, if anything happens with a, you know, breathing situation, they know what to do. So there are different types of swim instructor certifications, but the biggest main one that you might know of is WSI, which is the water safety instructor, which is through Red Cross. So those two certifications are the biggest things for me. But you at least want your swim instructor to at least have water safety.
Right. Multiple years of experience.
Yeah, and also years of experience.
I have,
for sure.
I think we have 15 lifeguards, 10 or more are, you know, have well over, well, my quads probably got 20 plus years.
Oh, that's
so
wonderful.
10 years. And then now I just started a junior lifeguard association where I'm bringing in the teenagers that are, you know, they got the certification, but they need, you know, get some experience under them. Because, you know, like you said, a lot of these kids, these COVID kids, you know, they're on their phones. So, you know, the first thing we say is, you know, put your phone up. Your phone's not allowed on the pool deck. So, you know, that's the first thing is you can't hold my phone. You know, it's like, no, you know, you can have it near, but, you know, in case of an emergency. But I don't want you, the last thing I want to see is you on your phone, sitting in that lifeguard chair. So that's like rule number one. If you got to get somebody, if you get a call and it's a mom or someone, call someone over, take my seat while I address this, you know, whatever's going on. Parents know you're at the pool. They know you're a lifeguard. Unless it's an emergency, I don't want a whole bunch of calls and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, you know.
That's good.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is good. And then maybe, bless you, maybe they'll extend that out to other activities where they should not have their phone. But I was wondering too, like, Chelsea, do you get into like all of the different strokes for the kids? You know, breaststroke, butterfly. I mean, or is that like more advanced, or what do you include?
So usually a lot of my swimmers are either like beginners or they're learning from scratch. So the biggest thing that I really focus on with my newcomers is freestyle.
Okay.
Freestyle and backstroke. Because those are like the main two strokes that people swim. So really freestyle, and once they got freestyle down, we kind of incorporate backstroke. But if they're with me, because I have different sessions, so I have one session for 8 and 12. So usually with the people that stay with me for like 8 to 12 lessons, I'm able to go over freestyle and backstroke. But really only for like breaststroke and butterfly is people that are really interested in, like, they want to go on the swim team.
Yep.
Or they like are specifically wanting to learn that, but because butterfly, even breaststroke is very hard to
it is.
So.
Oh, okay. It's hard to teach.
Very challenging.
Yeah.
It's a lot of muscle. I mean, I've tried it. I can do it a little bit, but you know, you do about 5 or 6 of them at my age. Yeah, but at the Nile Swim Club, we're starting the Nile Dive team, the Nile Swim team. I mean, we're taking these kids, once they learn how to swim, we just keep pushing them. So we started a swim team this year. So we're trying to get these kids, you know, now that they learn how, as I told Jim Ellison when I met him, I said, we'll teach them how to swim, and I'm going to send them to you so you can teach them how to swim fast. You know,
is he still teaching?
Yeah, he still kind of does a little coaching and consulting and stuff. Oh yeah, PPR. Oh yeah, two of my nieces graduated from there and got full scholarships to West Virginia, and one of them is currently a swim instructor and a coach as well. Oh yeah.
Yes. And Jim Ellis, it's his story that was in the movie,
Yes,
right?
that is correct. Yes.
What was the name of it again?
Oh my goodness! Don't make me.
Pride or
Pride. There you go. Pride. Yes. Pride. Yep. And he's a Kappa from Cheney as well. Just a little plug. Yes.
Oh, okay. I think I might have read that somewhere, actually.
Yes.
Yes. So now you talked about, Tony mentioned how parents have signed their children up for programs, and then sometimes they don't end up learning how to swim. Do you have, do parents kind of have a specific time frame where, working with you, Chelsea, that, they want their children to know how to swim and maybe that doesn't happen?
Yeah, I think sometimes parents come in with the expectation that, their child is gonna learn. Sometimes people get 4 lessons and be like, is that enough? And I'm like, it all just depends on how the child learns. Like everybody learns different, so sometimes you have to, and even now I've been teaching since I was, like I said, 16. I have to learn how to teach things certain ways with certain
different
people.
levels. Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
I really try to tell parents, let's see how this goes, and I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna give it what I got,
Right.
every lesson I really try, and sometimes they ask me, why do you keep doing those things? But repetition is key.
Right.
Repetition is really key. Because again, we go back to the muscle memory. But I really just try to tell parents, every child is different. They're gonna learn something.
Right.
Now, do they come every day with you? Do you see if you push them like our 10-day intense course? You come every day.
And I was gonna ask you that. Is it consistent?
Yes.
10 days.
10 days straight.
That makes a lot of difference.
10 days in a row, and we
so
half hour. It's like a half-hour session. We have like 5 or 6 lifeguards in the pool, all training. They all have a group of probably 3 to 4 kids at a time. And you can quickly see. Like I can look and say, she's a Nile shark. He's going to be a Nile shark. The ones in there for like 2 or 3 days, and they're on the top of that water and moving across that water. I said they're swimmers. It's just like in any sport. The guy. The Michael Jordans and the and the Ben Simmons. Sad to say, but you just know, and you can quickly see the folks that really gravitate to it, and some take a little longer. And they'll sign back up again.
And last summer I had a kid. His name was Arslan. Shout out to Arslan. He came at 7:30 in the morning, 3 times a week. He had 12 sessions. But when I first got him, he was so scared, nearly he didn't want to put his face in the water type of thing. But he came consistent 3 times a week, and by the end of the summer, he was swimming. So I really do stress to parents, if you bring your child consistently,
right?
I don't know what your schedule looks like, so I can't tell you or force them, but I tell them all the time, you're going to see better results if you come consistent.
We'll be right back after this. Are you a parent looking to unlock your potential in raising confident, capable, and courageous children? Well, look no further. Join us at the upcoming Parent and Purpose Summit Back to School Edition, where parenting experts from around the world will come together to share their wisdom and insights. I'm Carol Maletta, founder of the Parenting 411. This summit is your opportunity to gain essential skills and tools to become the parent you've always aspired to be. Over 5 incredible days, we'll dive deep into topics like positive discipline, effective communication, mental health, self-care, school readiness, and more. An attendee from our last summit told us, "This summit changed my parenting game. I feel more confident and connected with my children than ever before." So secure your seat at the Parent and Purpose Summit today. Visit parentandpurposesummit2023.com. That's parentandpurposesummit2023.com. And click the registration button to join us on this transformative journey. The Parent and Purpose Summit, where intentional parenting begins. And we're back with the Parenting 411. In your program, do the parents stay and watch their children? Do you think that's a good idea? Chelsea and then Anthony.
So sometimes it depends. Sometimes when parents are around, children like to act out.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes I will tell a parent, or their parents to watch from like afar. So they'll watch either from like the shaded area of my pool deck, or they'll watch from the other side of the pool deck, or they'll watch from out the gate. Because sometimes, like when the parents are gone, it's just you and the child. Like you and that child have a moment to just bond, and I feel like they trust you more because the parents are gone.
Okay.
So, yeah, it depends on the student. It's really just depending on.
I heard a few parents, of course, when they first put their babies in that water, they're pretty much standing right on top of the pool deck, watching and scared to death. So I give them like the first day of that. And then after the first or second day, I'm saying, my lifeguards got it from here. Nothing's going to happen. And we say we have like our nice lounge chairs. We have underneath our pavilion. We got Wi-Fi. We say, go up there, do a little bit of work or hang out, and then, then come back. Don't, I don't let, as they used to call me a helicopter dad, I try to tell them you don't have to hover over. We got it.
Because sometimes that transfers the parent's fear onto the child.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so sometimes the child is not even fearful. They're just they're feeling their parents' energy.
They're looking at their parents, they're looking at our focus, they're looking, so I always tell their parents, please, we got this from here. And we can
read a book.
Right, there you go.
30 minutes, you got just 30 minutes to do whatever you need to do. We got it.
There you go. The snack bar. Go grab a coffee from the snack bar. Go, walk around and look at the rest of our beautiful grounds, our Nile garden.
Right. And and then also for those families that do have fear of the water, it sounds like you're addressing that, Anthony, with teaching adults how to swim too.
Yeah.
Do you work with adults at all, Chelsea?
Yes, I actually love working with adults, actually.
Okay.
Just because it's more of a challenge because you're really trying to break years of fear.
Yes.
Right.
Believe it or not, the children, which I've noticed, tend to learn faster and quicker than their parents.
That is so true. Yes.
I mean, I've had parents literally scared of the water as much as the kids are, and scared to put their face in and try to swim. And I mean, it's amazing that some of these kids are parents, but they learn. But again, at our age, once you get kind of set in your ways, and then trying to get in this water. But it's amazing. I've had some parents come and learn. Even my oldest sister Marie, she was in there trying to learn how to swim.
Oh, great!
Yes, and she's in her 80s.
Oh wow, that's wonderful. Wow.
Yeah.
So how, Anthony, how has being involved with the Nile Swim Club then influenced your activism in the community and importance of leadership?
Good question. I mean, it meant a lot to me. Like I said, when I first got to the pool, growing up in Yeadon, VA, with my big family, and then I, wanted to have a little family reunion there because, they were coming to my house. It was a bit much for my wife to have all these folks for New Year's Eve and all these different events and stuff. So I went back to the pool, and a couple of board members said, Anthony, we have about 75 members. We're $250,000 in debt, and there's a foreclosure sign on the door. They're talking about going to, the sheriff's sale. So I said, first off, I said, there's no way I'm going to let these folks take our pool. We're the oldest African-American swim club in the country. Under no condition are we going to let them take our pool. So I really just jumped into gear and started reaching out to folks with deep pockets, starting with my brother Sam, of course, and some of his friends. And I reached out to Bob Bogle of the Tribune, and Bob's friends with the governor. I said, listen, you got to put a stay on this foreclosure business. Give me some time to turn this thing around, and I will, and we'll make it work. So I just kind of jumped in with both feet and said, let's start, first thing I had to do was fix up the bathrooms and the facilities. I mean, we had the few members we did have, our loyal members, they pretty much refused to use the bathrooms because they were from 1970. and they were in disarray. So,
Right.
the first check I got from my brother Sam, I said, let's fix these bathrooms up and let's make it nicer in here.
Right.
And then after we did, kind of worked on the infrastructure of the place, I then said, let's put together a marketing program to start driving membership.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking at other fundraising ideas, the brick campaign, the book, I did the senior optimal wellness. And like I said, once you get inside our 4.5 acres, you got to give folks stuff to do. So I said, we're going to have a swim team, a dive team, tennis. We got tennis courts. We got a YEA basketball league. And I just felt that it was very important for our community to have all these things for our children in particular, with everything that's going on in our community. I said, if we don't get these kids in here and keep them busy and out of trouble, and they're out, running the streets, there's no telling what they'll end up in. So right. Some of the kids, when I'm there, and it's so funny because some of the board members tease me, some of the kids were like me. They're at that gate, Mr. Anthony. I don't have money. My parents can't afford a membership. I say, hey, come on in, help me pick up some trash. You can swim for the day. You know what I mean? It's just, I give it back. Because I knew growing up, we could not afford a membership. Times are a little tough right now. So I said, listen, let's bring these kids in here. Now, if I know they're inside these gates, I know they won't get in trouble outside these gates. Right. So I pride myself on that. And, from my Cheney days on through my business and career, I've always, led that way. Mm-hmm. You always got to pay it forward and pay it backward. So I always, any way I can help and give back. And like I said, when I heard those statistics, I was like, this is insane to me. Mm-hmm. And I never realized it. Like I said, when I was at Cheney, I knew folks weren't in the deep end, other than me and Spence, a couple others out there diving and jump off the board. I just figured, they just didn't want to come down. But quite frankly, a lot of my college, they did not know how to swim.
I didn't know people. I don't remember knowing that when I was at Cheney, realizing that people couldn't really swim, because I know I attended a couple of swim parties over there, but I just didn't notice that people were
on the pool deck. We're on the pool deck dancing, a couple people in the water. A lot of people, nobody was down there jumping off them high dives and stuff. Really?
That's the main reason why my mama put me in swim lessons, because she couldn't swim. She was like, I don't want her to be like me.
Oh yeah, I know. That's important, but I just think that, it's very important for myself and other leaders, community leaders, and folks in our community just to do things for our community, because, it's rough right now.
It makes an impact, because, seeing more people like that look like you in the swim world, it's just like, okay, like it's just reassuring. And just, I worked at Texas A&M, and being the first African American in that position that I was in was the same to me.
Right.
So it's just like, okay, I want to inspire people to get into this world too, because it's a big world, but it's not a lot of us in there.
Yeah, and it dispels the myth that Black people don't know how to swim. Like it was believed that we just inherently couldn't swim. But as with everything else, when we have access to things,
there you go.
We not only can do it, we can rise to the top of it.
Exactly. Right.
So
it's far better than most.
So as we draw down to a close, I want to ask each of you, what are your future goals for expanding the work you're doing, and how to reach more people to promote swimming and water safety? So I'll start with you, Chelsea.
So my goal for Randolph Swim Academy is essentially to get year round. That is my goal. Like, I would love to teach swim lessons year round, have my own studio so people could come to me. So that is my goal for Randolph Swim Academy. But just overall, as swimming in general, I'm a big advocate for, of course, teaching swim lessons, but also becoming lifeguards.
Right.
I love seeing us being lifeguards and in these swim classes and teaching swim lessons. So I'm gonna always be a advocate for that. And
Right.
I'm gonna always be teaching swim lessons. It's just
Oh yeah.
second
That's
nature for
good.
me. So.
Good, good. How about you, Anthony?
Pretty much the same. I would like to expand the grounds on the Nile Swim Club with more additional pools. The Yeadon Swim Club, which was the pool that denied our founders membership, has since shuttered. It is now closed. I would love to acquire that property.
I read that. That
Look
is
how the tables
that is
turn.
yes. When I read that,
Yes. Right now, I think I probably have 15 lifeguards on staff, probably 10
That's
maintenance folks,
amazing.
and probably 10 front desk people. I want to be able to have, and they're mostly teenagers, young adults. I give them jobs for the summer. We're working on with the proceeds from the book. We're raising scholarship money. So some of these kids that are off, like some of our folks, some of our lifeguards are on their way, or staff members are on their way to Penn State and to other schools. And we're looking to create scholarships for them. And I just want to continue to, again, just work with our community. Again, but for the record, the Nile Swim Club is open and welcome to all. And our founders pledged that. But when we're being denied at the Yeadon, predominantly all-white school Yeadon Swim Club, and when we opened ours swim club in 1959, everyone was welcome in our community. Black, white, Asian, Latino, all were welcome. And to this day, everyone is all welcome. Everyone is welcome to the Nile Swim Club of Yeadon.
Yeah, I'm glad you made that point too. Yeah, I noticed that even back then.
Yes,
like you said, that that everyone could come. That's wonderful.
Right. Exactly. We didn't say, you guys didn't let us come into your pool, so now you're not welcome in ours. Our founders said, no, we will not. We're not going to do that. It's very, very. I'm just honored that I was given the opportunity to, bring the pool back into, right now, like I say, when I got there, we had 75 members. Last year, we had over 1,300 members.
And yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
So tell us where listeners can grab the book. I definitely think that is such a good read. It's a powerful story about activism in the community and making change, but it also gives you historical context about our country and just how you learn a lot about how we've been dealing with race and how that has evolved in the book as well. So it's you can go to www.nileswimclub.org to get the book as well.
Or on Amazon.
Nile
Swim Club Yeadon, a History. You go to Amazon.com.
Okay, so Nile Swim Club of Yeadon, a History. That's the name of the book if you want to go to Amazon and grab it. You should also, I just think you ought to go to the website anyway, because you can just learn more about what they're doing, how you can support what they're doing. So that's nileswimclub.org. And then how can we follow you, Chelsea, and what you're doing?
So you can follow my page on Facebook and Instagram. It's Randolph Swim Academy. Okay. And I can drop it in chat, but yes, Randolph Swim Academy on the socials.
Okay. Nile Swim Club on socials as well.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so I encourage you, and of course I'll be dropping these in the notes for everybody, but I just really hope that people who watch this will be inspired to ensure that the young children in their lives know how to swim. It's just an important survival skill, and just not to mention the recreational and health benefits. And yes, absolutely. So I thank both of you for spending time with me, and yes, absolutely. And for all of our parents listening, remember what I always say, that it's never too late to be the parent you want to be. Continue to follow us at The Parenting 411 on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And I will talk to you next time.